Yay, we're
He's
on.
also from Jersey.
Okay,
He
so
married
broadcast.
a young lady from Rhode Island.
Wait, Brittany, look at the one.
So it's funny, she was screaming at him one day when I was last up there, but she was
Where?
asking him to park the car. And all I heard was, hey,
2.5?
John, go park the car. Go park the car. And they live in Boston now, which is really a mess.
No,
right, 5200. D5200.
Last year, I spent 2 months working in South Jersey.
That's all I know.
So I came back here, I was commuting, coming back home every weekend.
No, I'm seeing
wow.
that
That was,
because I think I'm gonna
when
do
the weather was bad, because I'd
You
fly
just
from
got a new
Philadelphia to
camera.
Yeah, but I want
Chicago
another camera. I don't want to like
to
have to
here.
replace that one.
I had one
to
night
add on to that.
where there
That
was
has
weather
strengths
problems in
that mine
Chicago and
You know, I don't
delays.
want
I ended up in Dallas and then more delayed. Long story short, by the time I got here, I was home for 13
Take
hours.
pictures of my kids.
And 8 of it I was asleep.
He's trying to
Also-
take pictures of
I got it in
No.
Hey
silly
guys,
late.
this is Merge, and we are live on Periscope here at Dunn Brothers
Should I
in
be started?
Columbia, Missouri. And we are going to, with my friends, we are going to talk about the past Democratic debate, and we want to hear you and your perspective on who won or what everybody thinks about Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and everyone else that was on the debate. So today's broadcast, we call it Complicated Conversations in the Post-911 Era. Let's talk, it's time. So how are you guys today?
Outstanding.
That's
Amazing.
Jason's more.
I'm feeling amazing. It's the end of a very long week. A lot going on. I'm excited to talk about it with some wonderful minds.
Hi Kelsey.
Hello, I'm doing good. Just recovering
guess
from
I
a
should be
sinus
starting.
infection,
I
so I'm
guess.
here and strong and ready.
And you are from?
I'm from the University of Missouri, studying international business.
I'm good. I'm Katie. I'm sick right now, but all is well. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, here it is. Hi.
Hello, Emily. My name is Emily, and I'm doing fine. It's the end of the week, like Jason said, so I'm just happy.
All right. And we have over there is.
My name is Brittany, and I'm doing wonderful. I'm glad it's the end of the week and the beginning of the weekend. So,
All right. So everybody watched the debate. Did
Yes.
you watch the debate?
I did.
I did watch the presidential debate. It was a good time.
I watched it with my mother because we definitely have different political views, and
Really?
yeah, and
Republicans.
yeah,
Yep.
and my dad wasn't there, which I really wish he would have been there to watch it. But I told him that in order to make an informed decision on who you need to vote for, you need to watch both sides, no matter
Right.
what you think you know or what you think you like, just based on a character before you get to know about the candidate.
Well, who do you think? What do you think about the candidates?
Well,
Well, as far as the debating went, I definitely think there's a lot more context and content that was relevant to the United States and what we're, some of the issues we're doing now. I know in the after debate interviews, Bernie Sanders says that he wished he would have touched more on the income inequality, which I agree with. I think they did a better job of mentioning it than the Republican debate did, but they still could have talked a little bit more about it and some things that each of the candidates would propose to do to help fix that gap. I think overall, like I said, the content I think was great, and some people were disappointed because it wasn't as exciting.
Exciting.
But it was. I feel like it was real. It was Martin O'Malley. I mean, his closing statement was phenomenal. He did a great job of summing up. You know, you didn't hear people insult.
Did you say sucking up or summing up?
Summing
up.
Summing.
Okay, I thought you said sucking up.
And for him to reach out to the youth of under 30, like just to hit us like that, hit us hard, hit our emotional
yeah,
tap.
it was true.
It was great. You know, how he said, talk to the people under 30. You know, they're the future of our country. You can really see progress.
But
in
don't
those
you think
people.
that when there's a debate and they say all these things and they promise, they do all this sweet talk, especially with the young generation, and then all of a sudden they get elected and they're in office, and then they can no longer, once they get into office, they cannot, bring in what they have promised before. Is they can't do it anymore because there's so many things happening.
It's a job interview.
There's so many outside. Yeah, it's a job.
It's a
interview.
job interview. And here's the way some of these job interviews work is you want the job, you want it really, really bad. You're going to say what you think your potential employer wants to hear.
The one thing though,
And that's what happens in American politics.
What
Is we are just a bunch of liars.
yeah, but what they're not covering also is they need to be careful about just covering the younger generation under 30, because I read something today. I was doing some research for another project, and in by 2032, it's projected there's going to be double the amount of 65 years and older
Well, yeah.
than there is people that are 15 and under.
Well, we've got some
right
viewers
now-
from
So
Dubai
why are
watching us
you-
here this evening.
Hello from Dubai.
Hello from Dubai. How's it
Hi,
going in
Donna.
Dubai?
How are you?
Yeah, I don't know why they're so focused. I mean, yeah, I'm loving that they're focused on my age, but I feel like as far as our country goes, we're not the only group of people that our government needs to be worried about.
But I think their purpose in saying 30 and under is not because of where we are financially or anything, but based on our opinions. And I don't think our opinions are going to change. People under 30 are going to be progressive until they're 60. So if they appeal to the younger generation now, well, it'll be the same generation when we're older, and we'll have basically probably the same ideas,
And-
general ideas at least.
I mean, Bernie Sanders, he kind of touched base on veterans, and I mean, he's a huge veteran advocate. And also with Social Security, I don't know if he touched too much on it in the Democratic debate, but I know he's mentioned how he wants to make sure that it's still around for people whenever they retire. And I mean, I really haven't heard too much from anyone else, but then again, I haven't thoroughly looked into anyone else's plan on Social Security because I just really haven't heard it mentioned.
Here's an interesting thought process that just came in from Young Hawk 28. He says, your ideas won't be the same when you're older.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
And
say too.
I think that's
Why?
a valid
It's
point.
proven.
Why?
It's actually proven.
What we think now is going to change.
Well, it's proven that as you get older, you actually become more of a Republican, and then you go back.
So you're saying you
I read
switch
that.
parties?
I don't
So
remember
it's-
where.
Wait a minute, I'm older.
No. Like you start when you're younger, you have more of an independent mindset, and then as you get older, I read somewhere that you actually your viewpoints actually lean more Republican. Whether your political parties stay the same, your actual viewpoints and the way that you think about stuff is actually leans more Republican.
I disagree
I don't
with
know
that.
why.
So you're saying that
I
when you get
disagree with
older, your viewpoints, I mean, again, when you get older, you start to focus on things like
On things that
Social
are different.
Security, retirement. Again, regardless of what country you're in, you start to think about retiring is what you're
Yeah.
basing everything on, as opposed to when you're younger and you've got less going on, I guess. And again, Young Hawk 28 just says the older you get, the more responsibility you take on in life. And
Right.
again,
Yeah.
I wish you were here. This is a very valid point because I'm older and I'm more concerned about retirement. I'm very concerned in taxes, and I want somebody who's going to be a leader who's not going to beg, borrow, rape, pillage, and steal from my pocket.
Right.
And who would that be right now?
Right now, anybody.
now.
And who is rape,
Yeah.
borrowing, and stealing? I think the entire United States government as a whole right now is taking my money and putting it into a stealth bomber
So
they
how
keep
about
just
we
down the
get-
street.
How about we
Yeah.
just get rid of them all and just replace them?
Restart.
So you guys want to
Restart.
restart? No, I mean.
Yeah, really, if I could hit Control,
Please
Alt,
play
Delete,
the-
I would. But I use
Yeah,
Mac,
but
it's
keep
not a
learning.
PC.
She's technically new.
Command.
Okay, since what's happening right now, we have the coming up of the election, and we have the opportunity to elect the best person, perhaps, to rebuild what's going on. Rebuild our country, rebuild the world. So, who do you think, based on the last debate from them, who do you think would be that
Which
best
debate are we
person?
talking about, Marge?
The last one, the
Democratic
Democratic debate.
Democratic debate
Yeah.
from, okay.
Okay, let's go around. Let's try Kelsey.
Now, so are we
Kelsey.
electing somebody or are we hiring somebody?
We hiring someone, and we have to be very clear.
Because I
that,
think there's
yeah.
a difference here
Yes, there
between
is a
electing
difference.
somebody and hiring somebody.
Okay,
This
so
is the
somebody's
world's toughest
asking.
job interview.
Hold on a second. There's somebody that asking if taxation is a theft from the viewer.
Is taxation a theft?
Yes.
What kind?
Yes,
No.
absolutely.
I think it
The way the
depends.
tax system is set up right now, we're getting robbed blind.
Yep, I think it depends on who you are. I think if you are a lower class, if you are a student, if you are people that are under that poverty line, yeah. I mean,
But is this person
there's no
asking-
reason why our below poverty line people pay taxes.
Absolutely, there's no
Whereas
reason for
our
that.
higher level people pay either less or the same when they get paid sometimes 10 times what the average person does.
So when you graduate from college, or if you're a recent college graduate for that matter, chances are pretty good that your income level is not going to be the same as somebody who's been in the workforce for 20, 25 years. That being the case, you've got student loans maybe. Should you be getting taxed out of your yin and out of your yang? Absolutely not. You all should be able to take your money, earn your money, spend your money to keep the economy going, and not have to worry about losing 25% to the federal government.
I think it's
Plus your state government.
I think it's gonna be hard. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I think it's gonna be hard to change any of that though.
Well,
Change that much, because if it's something that the people
Periscope
will
viewers,
be
weigh in
voting
here.
on it. If it's people if it's the people that's going to be voting on the new tax plans and not just going through Congress, and
Somebody
not
else
having anything to do with the actual people, I don't think it'll have a very good chance of going through, because a lot of older people say, well, I did it, you can do it too.
Here's a good. So again, here's Young Hawk. I want a government that's going to focus more on the importance on working for a living. I think that's important.
That's important.
Working, okay, not jobbing. Working
Right.
for a living, not jobbing just to get by.
Right.
Okay, what does he mean? Does he want higher
Yeah.
wages, or what does he
Yeah, what do you
probably?
mean?
So while he hasn't said, I'm sure he'll fire something off here for a second. I think there's a lot that can be said, and it's going to tie back into who we think is the best overall winner. Higher wages are needed. Everybody talks about, oh, we'll give everybody $10 an hour. You cannot live on $10 an hour. Part of this problem is taxes. The other part of it is the Obamacare, because all the full-time jobs are going away, so we can have more part-time jobs, so that benefits don't have to be paid by the company, so the person who has to work 2 part-time jobs at $10 an hour
With
can't
no
afford.
benefits.
Right.
Right.
The government, and again, here's Young Hawk again, he doesn't think you should be depending on the government for a living.
No.
And I don't think you should be. I think the government needs to say, hey, you're at a certain stage, whether it be professionally and financially, you deserve a break. And there was something that was said 2 weeks ago by somebody whose name I won't mention yet, on a very interesting tax
When
plan
Reagan lowered
that was
taxes
taking
in
care, that was going to
tax
take care of
revenue,
those that
went
were
up, not
single
down.
and those that were married that were under a certain income point.
Oh, I heard
And
about
we'll
that.
touch on that tax plan
Yeah, you guys
in a
missed
few
that
moments.
last week.
You saw it then, you know what I'm talking
You
about.
told me last
I did, that's right.
Donald,
I'm sorry?
Mr. Donald.
It was Donald Trump, but we'll talk about Donald in a
Mr.
minute.
Donald Trump.
Well, somebody's. Oh, I like that one. How did you? What was that? Well, somebody said that it's
Hard
Ben
work
Carson.
isn't rewarded anymore, is what I'm seeing, and you couldn't be more correct.
I think that those people that are lower poverty, like below poverty line, or the working class, at least middle class, not high middle class, like actual middle class, are people that work the hardest and aren't on government assistance. They aren't depending on other people to take care of their problems for them, and they work every day to take care of their families and try and get by. And those are the people that get hit the hardest with taxes. They get hit the hardest with what they're expected to do, because the second those people try to go for government assistance when they actually need it, they're told they can't, even though they actually need it, because you have all these lower poverty people that live off the government, and you have all these higher people that don't ever pay into the system as much when they make more, and so you have this way.
Okay, but
The
there's
rich get
what-
richer and the poor
but-
get poorer.
Right.
But
Middle
there-
class is depleting. We
Right.
need to rebuild our middle
Exactly.
class.
Right.
Successful economies come from middle class because we stimulate growth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but-
here we go. He's a truck driver, he says. So the more overtime he works, the more he's taxed. So basically, he works longer, he works harder,
Yeah.
See?
earn a living
That's
for
what I'm
himself.
talking about.
That's
So
how
you
it
earn
is.
more, you get taxed more.
Yeah, because
And-
the more you make, the more you get
And I
taxed.
think, and there's a couple of ways you could take a look
Until
at
a
this. And
certain
again, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an economic expert, but you could say, okay, we're going to eliminate the federal income tax all the way around and just do a flat sales tax. That's a way of doing it, so that I know that if you did a 25% flat tax, I know that my dollar candy bar is $1.25. But again, in this particular gentleman's situation, if he stays under 40 hours, he's not getting paid time and a half or double time, whatever it is, he's taxed less. Long story short, the less motivated you are, the better off you are.
Which
There's
is
some people.
the reason why we have such a problem in our country with people not stepping up
I'm moving to
and
Canada.
doing what they need to do. No,
They have
you
more
can't do
social
that, though.
programs than us. They're more of a socialist society than we are right
They
now.
have a better
And that's what you want to get
college
away
system,
from.
too, and a
You
better
said you don't
healthcare
want government
system.
assistance.
Okay, Brittany.
Okay. Part of being, capitalism is great. But you can't have capitalism fully. You can't have socialism fully. It just doesn't work.
Right.
You have to have a good mix of either. Government programs like free healthcare, like Canada has, that's a socialist program.
Yeah.
Roadways, those are provided by the government. That's a socialist program.
Right.
Like education, K through 12, that's a socialist program. I mean, there's people who are so opposed to getting government assistance, but those are things that the government is assisting us
I
with
think
that are
there's a
tax
line.
dollars.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
It's
like give and take.
cut the loopholes and have a flat tax rate of 18%. If you make under 50,000 household, you pay no tax. Does that make sense?
Donald Trump said something extremely close to that. He was, I think it was, if you're married, it's under $45,000, you don't pay any tax, and if you're single, it's under $25,000, you don't pay any tax. And again, the flat tax of 18%, I use 25% as a shot in the dark number, so okay, we're in the neighborhood, and again, that flat tax makes it easy. Now, the other question that comes into this as you're looking down the road is we use our federal taxes and our state taxes to try to balance this thing called a budget, and I know that if I balanced my
A
checkbook,
budget that doesn't work.
yeah, I'd be in jail if I balanced my checkbook the way the United States government has been doing things. But again, that's all going to come down to who's got the best chops, who we think is going to be the best leader, who's going to realistically, once hired for this job, going to improve the economy, who's going to make the budget the way it needs to be, who's going to take us out of countries we have no point of being in, who's going to be the best CEO of the United States.
Well, you said realistically. So if we look at this from a realist perspective, I mean, I think Bernie Sanders has phenomenal stances and ideas to help grow the middle class. Realistically, the thing that is really stopping him is Congress. Both parties were so different that it's hard for us to come together on anything. And realistically, it would just there would constantly be filibusters in Congress because the Republican Party wouldn't budge on some of the ideas that Bernie Sanders has. So going back to,
Are you only
I think
blaming
any-
the Republican though? Or?
No, I'm just saying both parties. It happens
Okay.
in both parties. The Democrats do it, the Republicans do it. So going back to the whole, who do you think won the debate? I don't think Hillary won the debate, but I do agree with the fact whenever they ask what she was, she says, I'm progressive, but I'm a progressive that likes to get things done. So
Been quoted like that all week.
it sounds like there's some compromise, like there's some wiggle room. And although compromising ends up satisfying no one, but it will eventually create progress, and hopefully we can get to a point where.
So you like Hillary to be the one to lead this country?
Oh! So, but here's an interesting point.
Ideally, I would like Bernie.
If you did not know Hillary Clinton from Adam, her name had never been up, she didn't have any of her recent history in politics, she was just as new to this as, say, Bernie is, as far as debates and running for office. Would you like Hillary or would you like Bernie? Because right now there's a trust issue with Hillary Clinton based on everything that's happened in the past.
I don't have that trust issue, and I think that's one thing with our new generation is there are a lot of young people our age who are for Hillary because we were born during the Clinton administration. We were young whenever things were happening.
Oh, dear God.
I know Benghazi happened more recently, but we don't have the influence of the Clintons that the generation before us does. So whenever they say we have that trust issue perspective, some people in the younger generation don't have that issue because we just don't. Like they're as fresh to us as Bernie is. Even though Bernie's been involved with politics for decades, Hillary's been involved with politics for decades. She's been our Secretary of State. But running for actual presidency, I mean, we don't have that influence of Bill Clinton or the Clintons as like the generation before us. Plus, we are 90s kids, and everyone always talks about how great the 90s were, and who was president in the 90s? Bill Clinton. Now, he might not be the direct effect of how great the 90s were, but you're like, oh, who was president? Oh, Clinton? Oh, okay, must have been
Here's
rocking
my
time.
issue with Hillary Clinton. I don't know, I know the generalization of what happened, so I'm not like, I don't like Hillary Clinton because of this and this and this. She just, to me, doesn't look like a trustworthy person.
Yeah,
that
she
might
looks
be
like a
a
snake.
complete, like,
Then,
Yeah,
I know that's just me,
okay, so
but when
there's
you're
a problem with trust issue with Hillary
Would
Clinton.
you
When you're
hire
watching
somebody
her,
to
you
work in
just
your store?
don't-
Would you hire somebody to work in your store who you don't trust?
No, if I don't think they look trustworthy, then I would not even consider
don't
them.
think
I
Donald
do that
Trump
with
is
people that I
trustworthy.
hang out with too. Like, I
So
don't.
what's